Hello, this is Seiji. I've been learning French for about a year, and also Japanese for around 20 months. So just over a year and a half. And yeah, I'm just gonna describe just the process, what I did. I'm gonna start with French because that's when I started. Um, and then later I'll talk about Japanese and also the content too. Like I think that's important too, to talk about like the anime, manga, light novels. That I've learned from, and the words and what words I learned. What words I learned from those manga, and also um, なんていうか, how difficult they were. For example, you may not see it actually. Okay, oh, you can kind of see it. Okay, look, watch. I'm gonna show you guys. I have all the Vagabond volumes right here, just stacked. Same for Classroom Elite. These are light novels. Wait, freak, can you guys see? Yeah. Um, should have a closer look. Classroom Elite, guys. One of the best light novels of all time. But just having this for reference. I guess we should start with French, because I don't want this video to be too long. Okay. All right. Yeah, with French. So I started French in high school, right? I was a freshman in high school. Right now, like, I'm a senior. Um, but I started as a freshman in high school because I had to take like a language class, right? Because but in my okay, I forgot to mention this. Really important. I am half Japanese and half French. Um, Now my dad is French and my mom's Japanese. So like I'm a mixed. Um, However, now with French I did have to start from zero. Like, even though my dad was French and he did speak to me in French, and I have been to France numerous times. Same with Japan. I've been to Japan like 7 times in my life probably. Um, but I knew no French. Like the sounds they're saying were just gibberish. I knew no vocabulary. However, with Japanese, I didn't start from zero, so I'm gonna talk about that later. But with French, yeah, I just started from scratch. And yeah, so I started to do high school. And here's the thing, yeah, guys probably know, it's not that effective, right? If you do high school French classes, right? It's better to do immersion. So after like kind of like 6 months of like trying to get good at French, but then realizing like I wasn't even like, but then realizing that I wasn't progressing as fast as I wanted to. Like, because I really wanted to like get good at French. I was actually serious about it, and I did like the grammar stuff. I did the vocabulary, but I just wasn't satisfied with the results. So what I ended up doing was, I ended up researching like the best methods to learn language. I started going on YouTube, researching like what's the best method to learn language. And I stumbled upon a lot of things, but the main idea I got was just immerse from day one. Just keep just so that's what I did. I started to like watch a ton of YouTube, and did like a ton of stuff. And yeah, like I kind of just started out with that. Watched French Netflix and French YouTube, and I just kind of like immersed myself in that. But I also found like Matt vs Japan too a while back. This was like a long time ago. When his channel was not even that big. I remember those days, but yeah, I kind of just followed his advice. He was talking about RTK and crap, but like, and I didn't know what that was. Now I know it is. Now I know what it is, but back then I was like, RTK, what's that? But yeah, but with French, yeah. So I did a lot of immersion. I didn't understand anything at first. It was just so gibberish, man. Like, I just didn't understand anything. I was so surprised. I was so shocked too, because I was like, man, I've been learning French for like 6 months. I've been learning vocabulary, grammar, and I watched the French TV show, and I understood nothing. It's like, are you serious? Like, what is this? I'm getting screwed here. But don't worry, because as I kept immersing, I slowly started to get better over time, and yeah, it was no problem. Um, but along with immersion, I did take like a lot of courses, like those polyglots that they recommend. They recommend like Pimsleur, Glossica, and Asimo. Now I done all of this. I took all these courses because I thought they were gonna help. And they did help to some extent. I'll be honest, they did help. But guys, you don't need to spend any money to learn a language. Okay, okay, just don't spend any money on that. Okay, because there's if you're gonna spend any money, guys, it better be on shit like this. Okay, um, it better be on shit like this. Okay, or like this. Okay, spend your money on this, because this derives so much more value in your language learning. You know, there's so much more value in this. Okay, so you spend money on this, not courses, because yeah. So that's just what I recommend, guys. Okay, um, but yeah. So I'll be very like really bref. Um, I'll be very short about this. But yeah. So I just did immersion. I just did YouTube. I kind of switched back and forth between, you know, French YouTube and then Netflix. But to be honest, the majority of my immersion was all from immersion, right? All from YouTube. Um, YouTube is my go-to for French. But I mean, I'm not gonna say like there's like French TV shows are bad. They're not bad at all because the ones I've watched are really good. But the thing with the French TV shows is there's a lot of crappy shows out there. But the very few good shows there are, they're really good. Like for example, the first show I've watched, or like we watched it 3 times, 10%, which is Call My Agent on Netflix. It's on Netflix. It's all Netflix. I also watched 2 seasons of Family Business. I recommended my dad this show, and dude, he got hooked, bro. I was like, bro, I'm telling you, like these shows are amazing. There's like the third season. I haven't watched it yet, which probably I should watch it. But yeah, so 10%, Family Business, watched a ton of other stuff. But those are the main 2 shows I watched. Yeah, only 2 shows, right? Oh, fuck. I forgot about Wakfu. It's not an anime, it's like a cartoon French show, but it's like one of the best cartoon shows I've ever seen. And I was surprised that French people can make such good cartoons. Wakfu, I watched that like 2 times. I love that show. You know, I didn't understand a lot in the beginning, but like I said, if you just keep immersing with French, it gets there. But yeah, this entire process. Oh yeah, by the way, I forgot to mention Anki. I didn't use a lot of Anki in the beginning, and actually overall in French, with especially with French, I wasn't consistent with Anki. Okay, I you can say like there was a lot of words I learned in French just looking it up. I would hear something like they'll say something. I still remember this to this day. I remember Dwagby. So it's like a French YouTuber. It's like I'm gonna get into French. I'm gonna get into YouTube now. But he said like il est malin. And I was like malin. So I look it up and I was like, oh, it's kind of like smart. It's like pretty witty. And boom, stuck it. Like and there's a lot of words like this where I just look it up and I immediately just sticks in my mind. I get the definition. It's so easy to learn. I didn't even need SRS for that. Same with I was watching a stream of Inoxtag in 2020, like in 2020. And he said like j'ai la poisse. It's like means bad luck. And I've only seen that word legit like 2 times in my immersion. But I was just so confused how I could remember such a specific word that has rarely appeared again in French. Like, so that's one thing like that's weird with French, because in Japanese it's not like that. In Japanese it's so hard to learn a new word, but in French it's like you look it up and it's like you immediately get it. But yeah, I mean French French has actually improved my English vocabulary. There's a lot of words in English, because by the way, my English vocabulary is shit. Same with French. My English vocabulary is shit. So when I learned French, I learned like a ton of words in English. Like things like améliorer is equivalent to ameliorate. Things like augmenter is augment, like to like increase. Mériter, which means to merit, like merit, like I didn't know that word. I was like, what? Didn't know that word. What else? Interpeller, it means to interpolate. I didn't know the English word either. So there's a lot of English. What I realized when I learned French, was that Latin languages are all connected. So like it's like a spider web, right? It's all connected with the same strings, with the same kind of words that come from the same places, right? While with Japanese, there is literally no connection to English other than just loan words, right? With Japanese, so that's why Japanese is hardest because it's not connected to. It doesn't have the strings that are connected to English like French has with English. You know, there's just so many words that are so similar to French and English that it's just like not even funny anymore. It's like, you know, the only hard thing about learning a European language is the sound system and the grammar. And how do you learn these two? By immersion. So, you know, I just immersed a lot in YouTube and I naturally got to really, you know, understand the grammar like easily and the sound system just by listening. By the way, I never did any reading with French. I did read a book called Le Comte de Monte Cristo. I did read this book. It took like a month, but I mean, hey, like I read it, and I can say I read a French book. Oh yeah, also I read this. It's called it's called L'étrangère. Um, Albert Camus. It's done by this guy, but this book is actually really easy compared to the other book I mentioned. I'm not gonna say the full name. Fuck. But it's because this book is more contemporary. It's more recent. It's like it got published in like the 1950s. So the French here is like pretty easy, but like the book there is in the 1800s. So all the French literature books that are in the 1800s, they're like ketachigai. Like they're just so hard. Like they're so freaking hard. And um actually that's actually one of my weaknesses with French guys. I'm able to understand like slang really well. I'm able to, you know, speak pretty much. I can speak to my. If you throw me in France, I can speak. Get through it. Fine, right? Um, but the one problem I have with French is vocabulary. I don't have good vocabulary in French, unlike Japanese, right? Um, so maybe going forward in the future with French, I might just improve my vocabulary, you know. Um, but yeah, guys. But for the first 9 months of French, I'm like all over the place. Like what the fuck? Okay, um, the first 9 months of French, right? And me immersing. Um, I learned a lot, right? But after 9 months, I started to go to Japanese. And in the remaining like 3 to 4 months that, you know, I spent time with French, kind of like choco choco, I mean, like, you know, here and there, um, where like I had to take like a French class, so I decided to just go all out on French and just kind of put Japanese in the back. So in terms of active study, um, it's been like I like over 1 year of active study with them with French. Um, so yeah, and then with Japanese, the active study is like I did the math. It's like around less than 2 years, so like 20 months around. But yeah, um, but let's talk about the YouTubers I watch, okay? So let's talk about the content in French. Let's see. I'm just gonna pull up the YouTube right now. So I love. Okay, so I love Enoch Tag, dude. Um, this guy is just so good. Um, one of the most, like, you know, the thing with Enoch Tag is like he's my age, so I can relate to him a lot more than like someone like Squeezy or Loklir, who's like, you know, they're like adults now, right? But it's just kind of fun to watch like a YouTuber that's my age that just loves to do what they do, you know. Il fait ce qu'il kiffe, you know. Um, and il est juste un gars qui fait ce qu'il kiffe, and, you know, he likes, he's just really, he's charismatic a little, you know. He's really enjoyable to watch, really fun. Il est un, il est un bon mec, un bon ref, you know. Um, yeah, but like, so yeah, there's for Enoch Tag, um, that's the man. And the next thing on the list, I also like to watch is Loglir. You know, a lot of people think he's annoying, and, you know, there has been a lot of trash and hate towards him, just because of his personality. It could get out of hand sometimes. But that's what I like about him. He's like very noisy. He screams in front of his computer all the time. I love that. And, you know, when you don't understand anything, and you just have this Loglir who screams in front of the screen all the time, it's fun to watch. You know. And I learned a lot from I remember the specific moment. I acquired the grammar for il faut. So I learned this in school, right? And I still couldn't really get the word or like what il faut means. Like I was like, how did il faut is like it's necessary? What? You j'ai besoin? It means that? What? So I was just really I mind. It was really confusing and vague, like this word il faut. But it was only until they were playing like Minecraft, right? And like in that Minecraft is the hunger bar. So the hunger bar went down, and then he started to eat the steak. Like he started to eat like food, like in Minecraft, and he was like, "Oh, faut que je mange. Il faut que je mange." And I was like, so I understood je mange, which is means to eat. And he said, "Il faut que je mange." I was like, "Oh, boom!" That's when it clicked. I was like, "Oh, that's how it's used." He needed to eat because the hunger bar was going down. Boom, right there. That's how you acquire languages, guys. I'll put this back. But in that moment, guys, like it was just, it's crazy. Um, yeah, there's a lot of, it just comes down to just immersion, guys. So look lire. Oh yeah, I have to talk about the Z event that just came. So the Z event is something I've been following since 2019. Um, and dude, the latest Z event with Enoch Stag in it, oh my god, that was so good. Like that's peak nonfiction. Like like this in this, these are peak fiction, right? Like this is peak fiction. No. The Z event, and especially la vlog de Valuz, the Valuz's vlog, those are just peak nonfiction. Like there's nothing more fun to watch and with so much energy. Like this event is something special, like that is only specific and exclusive to French YouTube. And I really love that. I really love how something like that exists. It's so fun to watch. Everyone has good energy, and especially with Enoch Stag being there. Like we didn't even need Squeezy, bro. Enoch Stag fucking carried that shit, dude. Like it was, the Z event is really just one of the best. And I look forward to it every year. If you guys don't know what the Z event is, basically donation. Basically, it's a bunch of Twitch streamers who raise money for donations to fundraise world starvation. And bro, this year, like this year in 2022, no, 2021, this year, they raised $10 million. 10 million, guys. These live streamers, this is only in France, by the way. They raised 10 million to and all those 10 million dollars are all going to help with starvation in poor countries. So it's amazing, because I remember when like in 2019 they broke like three. It was like last year they broke 3 million. This year they did 10 million. That's crazy. Such a big jump. Next year it better be fucking 20 million. Okay, it's gonna be insane. But I look forward. I look forward to it every year. Oh yeah, but let's talk about Squeezy. So Squeezy is he's basically the PewDiePie of French YouTube. The PewDiePie of France, basically. Um, I love the guy's content. I mostly like his gaming channel. Like I just love watching his live streams. It's like that was my main immersion. I used to just watch his live streams. His gaming stuff. Here and there I watched his Trait d'horreur. His other stuff. Like I'm looking at it right now. Yeah. Oh yeah, and he made these like songs, right? He just recently time. But he basically made like a 20s hit song. That's funny. Like this, it's nothing can stop this dude. Nothing can stop this dude. And this guy consistently on his videos, he has like really high views every time. Like, it's so guys. If you want to learn French, like Squeezy, he's like the first dude you go to when it comes to French YouTube. He's the father of French YouTube. And yeah, love this guy's channel. But I'm gonna go more to the obscure stuff. The Skirp channel. So there's this magician, Donovan. Yeah, Donovan. Donovan, but he's just this insane like magic, tour de magie. He's this like insane magician who does these crazy fucking tricks. Like Like there was one trick he tried to do where like if he failed he would die. He would like burn to death, and he actually ended up like getting out. I was like, what? And he did it. He did it for a video. I'm like, bro, you don't have to risk your life just for a video, man. Like, that was just insane. But yeah, this guy's what I recommend too. Just also Hassan. Um, he's an Arabic dude. But yeah, dude, I know I really like the Arabs in France. They're really cool. Like it's like, it's like learning about a new culture. Um, so yeah, it's like yeah, Hassan he makes good content. Oh yeah, Valuz. So if you guys don't know, La Team Crouton, which is basically he's part of Enox is part of it. Michou too. Um, they basically yeah, but basically, like when they go on the vacation vlogs, those are like the best vlogs I've ever seen in my life. Like there's nothing that peaks that. I'm sorry, when it comes to the vlogs, just nothing that peaks that when they go on vacation. Like they went on they went to Mexico this past summer. Bro, I was there every day watching the freaking vlogs. Bro. Every day, I was there watching it like every day. Even when they were in La Course, I was there every day watching those vlogs. I kind of I put my Japanese studies to the side. I just stopped English immersion just so I can watch this shit. Um, it was just you know it's I love being on the ritual. And I look forward to the one this winter. They're gonna probably go somewhere this winter. But yeah. Um, oh yeah, I forgot to mention popcorn. So Domingo. So if you guys recommend like if you guys like a podcasts, um, I really recommend Popcorn. It's one of the best podcasts in France. And just Domingo, Bea as like a person, like I really like his pre lives. Where he just like talks in front of the camera, just does whatever. Like I really like these videos. Um, but yeah, but if I had to say like my comprehension right now, um, it would be like there's I understand pretty much everything, but there are still some words that like I don't know. Like now, when it comes to like live streams, like Enoch Stag's live stream, I pretty much understand everything. Like pretty much 100%. But when I watch like Popcorn, something like that's more like sophisticated, there's some words I don't know, like go over my ear. Um, and that I think that's when I hit the limit. I think I hit the limit of like I'm wrestling with YouTube. So like yeah, I feel like if I want to get better at French, it's my vocabulary, right? That's what I'm lacking at in French. It's my vocabulary. That's the biggest weakness. So I'm probably gonna just do Anki for I'm gonna from going forward. I'm probably gonna start reading French literature and starting to Anki from those books just to improve my vocabulary. Because I think with Jap, I'm gonna get to Jap. I'm gonna get to Japanese, but Japanese is kind of like I'm learning like these really rare words now. Like I'm like I can read like a light novel like I can read a light novel like this, and there's only like two words I don't know, like out of the entire book, only two words. So it's like my vocabulary is already really good, um, and if I had to keep reading light novels, like there's only gonna be a couple words, maybe like two words I'll just put into Anki a day for Japanese, um, but the biggest weakness is French literature. I it's really really yeah. So I might just start doing that. But I wonder if there's anything to say with French. With French, y'all guys don't have to use Anki as much. Now, this is a big argument. Like people say, like should you use Anki or not? Here's my advice. No one can argue this. No one can argue that Anki helps. Okay, that's just period. Anki helps in any stage, whether it's in the beginning, intermediate, advanced. It helps with any stage. Anki. That's why Matt got so good. Is because he used Anki. On top of immersion. But I think the argument should switch to how could you get away with not using Anki? Could you get away with not using Anki? And do you need Anki? No, you don't. Like you don't need to use Anki um, to learn a language. You don't. It's proven countless times. But the progress is faster if you do. And actually, with French, I don't actually even recommend use Anki in the beginning. Because I mean I use a little bit, but I was never consistent, never consistent, you know. So yeah, it's funny because like now that I'm like at basic fluency, like now I'm using Anki for French, you know, to like increase my vocabulary. Like now I'm using that. Like, you know, I didn't use Anki this entire time consistently for French, and now all of a sudden I'm using Anki. Yeah, I know. It's because I think when it comes to like reaching the highest levels and learning like really rare vocabulary, I think Anki is really good for that. You know, so I think, you know, in the beginning you I don't think it's not necessary to use Anki, but I think once you get to the advanced stages and you want to learn the rare words, that's when Anki becomes more necessary. But that's only if you like to read. You know, if you wish to have a high vocabulary, then go ahead. Yeah, you use Anki. Um, but if you don't read, if you don't like to read, then you don't need to use Anki. So you don't need to have high vocabulary. You know, it's fine. If you just keep immersing with YouTube and stuff, it's fine. You know, you're gonna be fine. As long as you know, if you're content with the content you're with, and you understand enough to where you can enjoy yourself, yeah, it's, you know, it's all that matters, guys. All that matters. All right. 日本語にしましょうか. You know, let's go to Japanese now. I think I've said everything on one of the French. Now, you know, so now let's go to the big journey, which is Japanese. So, all right. Okay, let's see.